Misérables and Penguins. It's Sunday evening. We are recording and we want to start with a little bit of honesty. Hands up, who was so bananas watching the match last night that they can't really remember what happened? Hands up. To be honest out there, folks, I'm looking at you. I know, yeah, there it is. It was my schedule ended up getting me a little bit upside down. Thought it would be a good idea, and it wasn't. I went to the field, and
did you stick to it? Did you stick to the schedule?
Yeah, roughly enough.
Did you call the accountant? Did they call the accountant?
I texted him a few times.
What field did you go to?
I went to my field, the field that I always go to, but I hadn't been there in a while, and I thought it would be a good time to go now because we're back in lockdown. And I went up, and it was pitch dark, and it was wet, and the farmer who owns it had put in a new electric fence in the middle of the field that I did not know about, and I couldn't see.
He's been listening to the podcast.
I fucking walked into this electric fence. Can you? I've never gotten such a fright in my entire life. I didn't know what was going on. I proper thought
I'd say you thought it was the aliens.
I thought it was the aliens. First thing that popped into my head was there was something after attacking me, and I fell over it, fell onto the ground, and then I just lay on the ground, trying to look at the stars and the moon, but it's a bit cloudy, and I lay there for ages.
Wait a second now. Can I just the field is your field that you go to for deep thinking and looking at aliens and thinking about stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much.
And there was an electric fence in the middle of the field.
In the middle of the field.
Was it squared out?
I couldn't see. It was so dark. I couldn't see what was going on.
And was that the first time you got a wrap off an electric fence?
In years.
It's a shock to the system, isn't it?
You'd get them when you were younger, when you might be out walking and trying to avoid a few nettles, which was the order of the day back in childhood, wasn't it? How many nettles am I going to come across today? Better not wear shorts. And then you get a lash of one of those. I remember trying to piss on one to see if it would travel up your piss into your dick.
On a nettle?
No, on
sting you.
Do you know what? I was walking past two kids.
If they rub a docker leaf in your jab's eye.
I was walking down on my walk in UL, where I walk all the time, and I was down there the other day, and I was walking past these two children who were having a discussion on the path, and they were thick with each other. And as I was getting closer, they were shouting, and I could see their parents, or two parents. There were two women, were about 50 yards further on, trying to get them to hurry on. And as I got closer, I realised that they were fighting over whether it was a dock leaf or a duck leaf. Isn't that gas that conversation still happens?
The dog leaf used to be my problem. I used to think it was dog.
No, yeah, it's a dock leaf, right? Dock?
Dockin leaf. Is it dockin?
I always thought it was a dock leaf.
It's
not a duck leaf anyway.
Stockdale.
No, it's not a duck leaf.
I wanted to step into the...
As you say, those conversations still go on, so people don't just go, let's just nip this in the bud.
Yeah.
10 seconds into any argument. I'm going to Google this.
Is it nip it in the butt or nip it in the bud?
Oh, no. I think it's nip it in the arse. I think it's nip it in the arse.
I've been saying play by year for my entire life until recently. And I think everyone has, to be honest with you. Have you as well?
No, but Tommy used to think the lyrics to the song were, I'm blue and I'm in need of a guy and I'm in need of...
Les Blue. We'll get to them in a while, huh?
Oui.
Les Misérables.
Sacre bleu.
So yeah, I had to go back and watch that match today, and it was so weird watching it with a sober and less wound up goggles on, because I don't think it's the way we all remember it. It was a different game than what I thought I'd seen last night. But anyway, it was a lovely day yesterday. My schedule went brilliant. I enjoyed Halloween. Mick and Annabelle, the twins, had the best day of their entire lives. I can say that wholeheartedly and it's the truth. And isn't
Yeah,
that
for
cool?
anybody else, that's such an exaggeration. But yeah, that's something you've got. That's something for your armory whenever you're 18 months old.
Yeah.
You get to have the best day of your life. Like, you've got a good few of them ahead of you.
Yeah, it was pretty. Yeah, I was thinking that it was set in stone. No, this is the best day you've ever had.
You should write it down.
Tomorrow is going to be a massive disappointment because Daddy's going to be hungover, and he's not going to be dressed up as a Mad Hatter running around the place. But they had a ball, Jesus, and
The costumes were great.
they were. Yeah, I did make in Pat Short's Tom from Father Ted in the morning, and that got a wonderful response. Pat Short tweeted it himself, which is great. And
No way.
Yeah, Annabelle. Mick stole the show because he looked so like Tom, but Annabelle was an even better Dougal in my eyes. She's such a space cadet. She's just sitting there looking like Dougal, with a little puzzled head in her all the time. So, did you dress up, Trimby?
No, we never got around to it.
Did the kids not dress up?
Molly dressed up as the Incredible Girl.
That happens every day of the week normally anyway, doesn't it?
Yeah. In fact, actually, we probably dressed down for Halloween.
But it's over. I wish you could pull a lever in your house and all the Halloween stuff would just go up, and then the Christmas tree would just drop down and plonk into your sitting room, and like pictures would turn around on the walls, and it'd be Christmas now. And it's like, yeah, fuck, it's Christmas. Let's just get into this crack now. And I was thinking, I was so not prepared for this show that I was thinking maybe we could all just, every one of us listening and doing, that we could just turn on a Christmas movie and just cuddle up on the couch and watch it rather than have to talk about the match. If you were to pick one, what would you watch?
What would I do?
Christmas movie.
What movie?
Yeah.
Home Alone for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
It's a winner all around, isn't it? Never gets old. I like Elf. Elf is pretty class. Did I ever tell you, Cozzy from Wasps, Cozzy, when he was coaching the Irish or the Munster Academy, he was the head coach back in the day, and I won't name names, but there was a player who was consistently late for training and wouldn't, he just kept missing training, and Cozzy had to give him a formal warning that if he misses one more training session or if he's late,
Killer. It was Killer.
It wasn't. That's always everyone's first response to most things in Munster. Killer. But he said, I'm going to have to kick you out of the academy to this player. And your mum was like, okay, 100% I'm not going to do it again. Next day, no sign of him. And he arrived half an hour into the training session. They were down UL in a pair of jeans and a shirt. And Cozzy went over to the sideline. It was like, what's the story, man? You're late. You're not even wearing gear. And he said he could see him scanning around for another player that wasn't there, and said that player that wasn't there was supposed to pick him up and never picked him up. So that's why he was late. And Cozzy was like, that's bullshit. He's not here because he's away for the week. So he was never going to pick you up. So you're lying to me. Tell me why you're late. And he said, okay, I was watching Elf. And I couldn't tear myself away from it. Because he's like, okay. He said,
That's fine.
That's what are we working with here? That's grand. I don't blame him. Good film.
Oh, jeez. If you're going to get stuck on a film, that's a good one. If you're going to get sacked, you're going to ruin the rest of your career. That's a good movie to ruin the rest of your career for. Hendy got kicked out of the academy as well, actually.
For what? That's something he'd do now.
Yeah, he was late, or he slept in or something like that. Done it a couple of times, something similar. I think it was more of a legitimate sleeping in, not watching Elf. But yeah, he got kicked out of the academy.
He'd have been up late, like trying to blow up microwaves and stuff like that.
Putting metal in the microwaves.
What?
And, yeah,
He did that a few times.
Yeah, he's one of those lads. He'd be
Pyromaniacs, is that?
Yeah,
just love blowing stuff up and setting things on fire.
Yeah, doing weird stuff. Like Felix is always doing weird shit like that, isn't he?
Yeah, me and Handy made a a potato gun one time, and not like a potato gun, like one of those ones you get where you stick the end of the wee, you get there and does this here.
Yeah,
not like one of those. One with like,
you
where
could
you
shoot
create
potatoes, right? Yeah, is it?
Yeah,
an
you
actual full
create
potato?
like a pressure, like it's a wide pipe and then goes into a narrow pipe, so the pressure kind of fires the potato out. This thing comes out like a cannon. We couldn't believe how successful it was.
What were you shooting?
Just into strangers' gardens, and just like the back garden, like not like just sending it long.
Well, yeah,
times.
I didn't hear many. There was no egging going on last night. I don't know.
Do people still egg? That's quite a 90s thing, isn't it? A way to
Kids are
get your own back and so.
lamer now, aren't they?
Yeah.
Will Christmas be the same now? Will it be? Will people be sending cards and all that crack? And even though seasons, I don't want any cards. Seasons greetings and fuck off. Like there's no seasons anymore. We're all inside. There's nothing going on. Especially Americans. They send. It's always those silly cards you have to stick in your fridge. Like crack. That's all ahead of us, lads.
Christmas cards, the Christmas card epidemic.
We should make Christmas cards.
Jeez, we are down. There's a hungover tone to this episode today.
We should make Christmas cards, though. Yeah, I agree with the hangover. Yeah, but we should Christmas cards with penguins on them and send them out to all our penguins.
We're bringing out a Potholes and Penguins Christmas jumper. So we might take some pre-orders and that, get some designs up. We'll get some designs up, get some pre-orders, and then get them done. We'd love. I think we should
hire Matt McKnight as our designer.
Oh, he's brilliant, isn't he?
He could. Matt could.
We got to know a few. We got to know Matt, and we got to know a few of the other Penguins on the Zoom call for the Bledisloe game. Shocking game of rugby. It was so. Apart from every time Mwanga got the ball, to be fair, it was lovely to put a few faces to names, wasn't it?
It was, and the voices as well. It was very enjoyable, very relaxed. It was weird. It was nicely weird. It was quite with our tone. And Robbo came on live from Paris, from his bed in Paris, naked, which was absolutely hilarious. Kind of looked like Big Barry. Is that the lad's name? The big massive meme that goes around the place at the moment. He said that himself, didn't he?
Did he? Did he say that? I think we.
No, he did. Yeah, he said I have a similar torso, and yeah, that was very enjoyable. But Matt McKnight, yeah, he's a cool guy. So maybe he could do some Christmas cards for us, drawings, because the creativeness of our penguins is brilliant. We once got a Christmas card in the post. We used to get one from this American guy that my dad played rugby with back in the 80s. Once, I think he played rugby with this guy, and he sent us letters every year with a picture of his family and a fucking 3-page printed out, typed update on what all his kids were at. And it was the most mental thing. I'm sure you've seen those things, have you?
So are Christmas cards like what social media is nowadays?
Yes,
in terms of keeping up with your person you met in holidays years ago, or the person that you kissed in Irish college.
Yeah,
and all those ones.
Yeah.
Because I'd hate to be receiving some of Jacob Stockdale's Christmas cards over the last 24 hours.
Wow.
That would not be capturing the tone of Christmas. Some of the ridiculous stuff on Twitter.
Yeah. Have you got a silly little bit? And
I do.
Is it around that?
It is.
Take her away.
And just to kind of disclaim this a little bit, I'm on my high horse a little bit. I'm shooting down people, and I'm on my high horse, and I'm aware that I'm a hypocrite myself.
It's Trimby, silly little bit.
James Bond was never going to age well in the current Me Too cancellation culture, and I suppose Sean Connery's taking his share of the blame for it. If Sean had died in 2016, maybe the keyboard warriors would have been kinder. Similarly, if Jacob had have coughed up a slippy ball in the backfield against Dragons away, and Ulster had gone on to win despite this hiccup, the conclusion might not have been that Jacob should quit and has no place in rugby ever, forever. In a sense, Jacob is a victim of his own success. The bigger the occasion, the bigger the overreaction, I suppose. Yes, the rangy Mexican fullback had an off day, but go away, you entitled fairweather potholes, and enjoy the luxury of your pathetic public service, unsackable job, having no consequences or bearing on anything whatsoever. Oh, did you file that spreadsheet in the wrong cabinet? No one cares. Did you not hit your seals target this quarter? No one cares. Are you a zookeeper and forget to feed the monkeys? That's not ideal, to be fair, but it won't be in the papers unless a monkey dies, and then you'll get the Jacob treatment. Please, Penguins, let's be kinder from now on.
Excellent.
That was great.
It's not as silly. It's not as silly as we've become used to, but I think it's important to make that point.
That the point that it's not silly, or the point that you don't want to. You need our Penguins to be kind.
Yeah, people are being mean, I think.
Yeah, it was wild on socials,
wasn't it?
Oh, it was mad. Like for our own Facebook, like the whole Bottles and Penguins thing is they're very creative and it's a fun little community, but it was just pure like absolute hatred, and it was also people on the piss all day long, and then you get into like 8 o'clock, 6 hours drinking, and then pure hatred.
This is why I said I watched it again today, and I think we may have our perspective may have been a bit skewed, not only from drinking pints, but because of what was at stake and the changing of needing 4 tries and a big win to just winning by 6 points, and we were all a little bit confused. There's so much going on, and I'm going to say something now that I think people will be like, "You're talking shit." But not only do I think Jacob wasn't that bad, I think he was one of our better players on the day. And if you go back and watch it, which I did, and I think I encourage everyone to, because if you're going to come on here and shout like, or on our Facebook saying, "This is absolute horse shit, he made so many mistakes, he was at fault for that try," go back and watch it, because the second viewing gives you such a better perspective. He was a threat every time he got the ball, whether it was like defensively or an attack. He made a poor mistake for that try. I don't actually think he made another mistake other than dropping the ball a couple of times that were like just errors that happen because he's getting the ball all the time. They're errors that are happening because he's trying something, he's trying to win the game basically. And I was guilty of it last night. I was watching it. I was going, "Fuck, he's having a bit of a nightmare here." I was kind of looking at, is it his confidence? Is it, or what? And maybe he's just not settled at full back. Maybe it's not his actual proper position, but to say that he shouldn't be playing or to go question him, his talent or his ability or whatever, I think he's such a good player. We're so blessed to have him in our fucking team. Andrew Conway didn't really get into the game last night. Probably no fault of his own, but barely touched the ball, and you don't see anyone criticising him, but you see you go back and you watch all of Jacob's moments, and I had the luxury of having the breakdown of his moments, and I could even put this together. It's a 12-minute clip that I have. I could put it up online and show all his moments for 12 minutes, and you see what positive moments he's had in the game. All his big carries, that time he dropped the ball when he on the left hand side, he made a break and burnt Fakatawa, and then the ball just slipped out of his hand. The ball was like a bar of soap. His break for his own try. I could go on, and I think it's weird that maybe it's because we've taken the fullback position and turned it into something that it has to be like a goalkeeper, like it needs to be the most solid position. You cannot make a mistake as a fullback. And Irish people we've kind of, maybe judging off the way Rob Kearney played the game, that's the only way a fullback can play. Do not make any mistakes. But you don't see how, you never see New Zealand criticising or questioning whether Bowden Barrett is decent under a high ball or is good defensively. He's fucking just an amazing attacking player. Just so they put him there. He's well able to play. So I hope to God that Jacob doesn't see all that criticism online. And if he does, I hope he knows that it's just people, I think, bias or having a skewed perception on what they want or they think the Irish team needs. And just
people are entitled to their opinion, I suppose, and that's fine. People feel like they're invested in this team, and they spend a lot of money supporting this team, and that's fair enough. That is completely fair enough, and they expect a high standard. I think just it's just a little bit of a shame that people got carried away, because he was. I do think he made a good few errors. He coughed up the ball a few times. That try and the other one that was put through on the ground, like I think he knocked it on, the ref didn't pick it up. There's a couple of those, but the only reason, not the only reason, one of the reasons why he's making errors is because he's backing himself and getting himself in the end of the ball on the ball so much. He carried the ball more than anyone else. He carried 16 times, more than CJ, more than James Ryan, more than Tyburn. Like there's no lack of effort, and I don't think we need to be. To your point, we don't need to be looking for perfection every time. We just need to be looking for commitment, and I think he showed that. And yeah, it's just a bit of a shame. People got carried away, but it's the being kind thing. Like we've slagged people on here, and it's people we don't know, and these people don't know Jacob, so it's kind of more understanding. But just maybe just be appreciative that he was trying his best, I suppose, and he cocked up, but he added a little bit of value to your point. He definitely wasn't anywhere near as bad as people are saying.
No, absolutely not. Maybe I'm leaning too far in the other direction, perhaps getting a bit too defensive. He was the best player on the pitch.
I thought he was better than Bowden Barrett yesterday. He was better than Richie Mwanga.
Yeah. Okay, I'll tone it down as well. But yeah, interesting still a little bit. And rest in peace, Sean Connery as well. Did he take a little bit of flack as well? Did he?
I think he did. Only a little bit, to be fair. That would be really harsh. Again, it's just dying at the wrong time, isn't it? It's just dying at a time when people are on their high horses.
Yeah. I could have died the right
It's a strange making the comparison between Connery dying and Jacob's performance in Paris.
At the wrong time.
At the wrong time, yeah.
I love it.
Sorry.
There's a lot more. Sorry, not sorry. There's a lot more to get into in the game, so let's take a quick break and come back and talk about Les Misérables in Paris. All right, welcome back to part 2. So let's get into it. Ireland beaten by France 38-27, was it?
Yeah, hammered anyway. What did you think about whenever Sexton whenever he went into the corner rather than taking 3 points?
Last night I thought it was a big mistake, and first thing Paul O'Connell said at half time, wouldn't have done that. Watching it back today, you could understand why he did it. Doris is coming back just back on the field. They had done well to score. Healy scoring that try earlier on off pick and goes. So I thought, if they did get a 7-point score there, it would have changed the shape of the game.
I wonder, is it a lonely place?
But
this just occurred to me here now. I wonder, is it a lonely place for Sexton? Because typically you've got your captain and your kicker come together and they discuss it. But he is the captain and the kicker, so he has no one to, no one who's actually involved, no one who's going to take any heat, who can stand over a decision. I wonder if that's a slightly difficult place to be.
Yeah, I mean, it would like, it's hard to look at it and go, that would have changed the face of the game. It would have put us within a point, right? And
I can't remember exactly what it was.
It would have.
I think you're right.
At half time,
I agree with you. I think it would have changed the nature of the game. It would have made the game more of a tussle, more of an arm wrestle, and I think that's what we needed.
Like Brian Moore made a point that they just got to win the game. Was it him or was it Johnson? Martin Johnson.
It would have been one of the few sensible things Brian Moore came out with.
Oh,
yeah.
To be fair, he made a bulimia gag.
I know.
no.
That was bonkers. You could hear Eddie, what's his face, was like, "What the flip are you after saying, you
Righto.
maniac?" Righto. Speaking of hungover, he sounded like he was hungover doing that match. He was getting ratty with him as well for bringing up the points difference and all that, and how it was changing, and wasn't his best day at the office. But I think, look, it's hard to tell whether that would have changed the game, but I think it's 28-20 with 60 minutes gone. You're like, if they were 3 points closer, they were in the game a bit more, you could trying to get more penalties, just trying to win it. And, even in the last 10 minutes of the game, they were still within a score, wasn't it? So, yeah, it was.
Yeah, it's very, very, like, it's very difficult to provide any kind of. I think it's difficult to credibly provide criticism on him going to the corner, because all of us, everybody else who responds to that or reacts to that, only reacts after they've found out that they haven't scored. So it's an easy reaction or an easy criticism. So, and if they score, it's a different story. So the decision's different from the execution, I suppose. The other thing I was keen to chat about was the penalty try that was never given. What's your thoughts on that?
I was texting Johnny Lacey, referee, about this morning, because I thought it should have been a penalty try. Blatant. I at the time I was a little bit okay. I was swept up in the moment, but when I watched it back, that was an outrageous piece of foul play, and it was swept over and pretty quickly. Barnes are kind of going, okay, obviously he's slapped the ball out of the way, like as if it's the most normal thing in the world. Whereas he deliberately stopped him scoring the try by that was in his eyes, that was the only thing he could do to stop him scoring the try, was to slap the ball off the field.
So he must have thought. So what Wayne Barnes says was, his explanation to Johnny was, it wasn't certain, or it wasn't. We can't be sure that a try was going to be scored, but apparently the law says there just needs to be a probable try going to be scored. So it needs to be likely. And I think it was likely he was going to regather that. Neil Piku was nowhere near it.
No.
He definitely would have stopped it. The only thing would have stopped it if he hadn't have collected it, and it was slightly behind him, but I still think he would have got it.
Yeah, you'd back as a professional player to get that at least 50% of the time, if not more. To take
so
that
Boutier, when Boutier slapped it into touch, he obviously thought there was a likelihood that he was going to score it. That's why he slapped it into touch.
Yeah.
So take his word for it. Chat to him.
Yeah. That was such a weird moment because it's brushed over. Then Barnes just plays that down. Oh yeah, it's the yellow card. Ireland go to the corner, and the rest of the game hasn't happened yet. It's early doors, so you don't know the implications of it. So, but in the end, that was a massive moment. If Ireland had gotten a penalty try and the yellow card, the boost that would given you, like they benefited from the yellow card right at the end. They scored a try. Healy scored with 10 seconds left on the clock in the yellow, but the energy they had to the hard work rate they had to go through to earn that score was massive. It drained them and probably gave France a boost to know that they kept them out for that long. Whereas when you get a penalty try and a yellow card at the same time, fuck, that would have changed the game completely.
Yeah, and then France, by contrast, were just scoring tries easily.
Yeah, I think they were.
I'd be interested to see I'd be interested to see the like possession stats, but it looked or territory, I don't know, but it looked like France didn't. It wasn't like they were putting heaps and heaps of pressure on. They were just relentless and kind of keeping carrying and putting Ireland under pressure that way, stretching the defence. It looked like just a couple of moments of brilliance.
Oh, that's it.
The chip from Ntamak, and was it DuPont then went through?
No, Fakatawa. Yeah.
It's just like France. It's so cool to see that they're back.
Yeah,
scoring tries.
Figu scored at his chip, and was it DuPont got that one? Great try. All three tries were brilliant, and obviously the penalty try was disappointing.
Have you ever seen the human Ken doll?
No.
So it was Anna said this. We were watching the game last night, and just for her birthday, come on, we'll watch the rugby, Anna.
You love it.
And she goes, that guy looks like the human Ken doll. And I was like, what are you talking about? Look it up. Google it there if you get a chance. This guy got all this plastic surgery because he wanted to look like the human Ken doll, and he's got these massive pronounced cheekbones. And then one of our penguins got in touch today to say he's the human Ken doll and send a picture in. It's incredible.
Who was it? Who's the French player?
No. Oh, DuPont. Sorry, did I not say that? DuPont,
DuPont. Okay. Yes. Yeah. With the cheekbones.
He's kind of got Eastern European cheekbones, hasn't he? Really, kind of.
It's like a Mongolian. The Mongolians have massive cheekbones,
like a Mongolian candle.
Probably is one. One criticism, look, there's plenty of criticisms you could have of Ireland as well. I'm not letting them off the hook, but I don't think it was. I think they're still a team in a little bit of they're development stage. A lot of young fellas, a lot of transitioning. But what Andy Dunn made the point a few weeks ago, you can tell a lot from a team off a scrum and how their mindset is going into attack. In that 10-minute period of France been down to 14 men, Ireland had 3 scrums, I think, and with a man down, they didn't. And France had put DuPont in the back line, so they were missing their scrum half. Twice on the line for that few minutes before Healy's try, Ireland kind of crashed up. Do you remember? And all you got to do is go 8-9, surely, and down a blind or just try and take advantage. I think it was almost like France were kind of going, "Oh fuck, you're just going to score here." And they couldn't believe that Ireland didn't try anything more than just crashing it up. It was blowing my mind, and watching it back this morning was even bigger. They actually went 8. Murray went left and CJ went right and picked. So all he needed to do was go 8-9 left, and Murray would have went Sexton into the corner. That was very frustrating because then you do get a try straight away off the yellow card, and you don't have to wait 10 minutes for it. Yeah,
CJ played really well, didn't he?
He did. He was got through an amount of work and a couple of.
He's one of the lads. He's one of the lads that lockdown has suited, because if you remember before lockdown, he was under pressure, and he was going well, but he was getting a lot of pressure, a lot of competition for his place. Now he's going so well. He's so physical, so good over the ball. He was a shining light, I thought, for Ireland yesterday.
And we have him on the show on Tuesdays.
Hey, a little bit of
licking the hole off him there. This week CJ is going to be our weekly pothole, which is brilliant.
I was disappointed that Will Connors got taken off so early.
Yeah, he I suppose he had a good game. He showed, I think he showed his skills a few times, passing off the back of the line out and stuff. He can throw a 10, 15 yard pass, which was encouraging. And his chop tackles are insane. He still had a few of them, didn't he? What you make of Sexton being taken off? That moment,
his tantrum, like him, is shaking his head.
Like at the time, what did you think? Were you like, fuck?
At the time, I thought he's raging because he's competitive.
He shouldn't have been taken off. This is
At the time, I thought he shouldn't have been taken. Like, if you remember, well, of course you remember 2 years ago. Like, if it comes down to something like that, if they got another try and they get back in the game and it gets tense, and you need to draw a goal to win a game, who do you want there? The guy who did it 2 years ago, and he was the one. He was the one pulling the strings. He was the one put the chip through for Hugo whenever it should have been a penalty try. I don't think I was surprised he got took off.
At 66 minutes, I think he was taken off, or around then. It was 28-20. We won a penalty and kicked into the corner. We had a 5 metre line out on the French 5 metre line, and the line out, we got turned over. But, you know, if they'd taken that line out, drove it and scored, it'd been 28-27, and we would have needed one more try to have won the game with 14 minutes to go. And he takes Sexton off a minute later, which was, you know, you're still in a very similar position. You can score a minute later. And then a minute later, I don't know if you remember, Ross Byrne got a pass and he put a grubber in to the left corner and it went into touch. And if that was Sexton, that grubber would have landed in Hugo Keenan's breadbasket, I guarantee it, because there was no one at home. There was no full back. And Ross, just a good player now, but he's probably not up to that standard yet to know how to win a game. So I completely understand why he was pissed off, and strange decision, I thought.
Yeah, and I thought there's probably too much made of him shaking his head. He's shaking his head because he's got it. He's disappointed, and he feels like he can add something meaningful at the end if he gets a chance. So I wasn't upset though by the way he acted or his body language. A lot of people saying that's not a good look, but it's just because he's competitive. He's fired up.
Yeah, that's it, I'd say. Is there anything else major that jumped out?
No, I think we've covered all the analysis. Yeah. Did I say DuPont looks like the Kendall? Yeah, I got that in.
Who have we next weekend? Wales in Dublin, is it? Yeah.
No, we have a weekend off, haven't we?
I don't know, man. No.
Yeah, we do. We have a weekend off.
Okay.
And then it's on Friday night.
Okay. A few Pro 14 games going on as well. Munster beat the Dragons at a 3-try win today, which very impressive performance again. Some of those young fellas, John Hodnett and Craig Case in particular, very impressive. So good to see them still winning, going top of the table. And then Leinster, Ulster and Connacht also playing at the moment and tomorrow. So we obviously don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, Ulster playing Cardiff tomorrow night, and then Connacht they've got oh no, they've got a weekend off. They're playing next weekend. The Monday night rugby, I quite enjoy it though.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah, it splits things up a bit, and you don't miss. Like what else are you doing on a Monday night?
Yeah, it can be hard to fucking get all the rugby and the sport, like the amount of hurling and football and that was on this weekend as well.
Needs a schedule. Everyone needs a schedule. Call the accountant of the weekend. Watch the rugby on Monday night.
That was to do with me putting money on that was the hidden joke there. Putting money on all the matches. I was losing the money. That's what
colleague. Okay.
Way over people's heads.
Way over my head.
That is obscure.
I thought it was going to tie in with the field and the electric fence, the accountant. There was going to be some magical mystery murder story that you uncovered. I went out in the field and there I found my accountant feeding a lamb that he just pulled out of a bush. We have the same accountant and he definitely wouldn't be feeding the lamb.
Would not. He listens to this actually.
Oh no.
You're a great boy. Keep doing them books. All right, we'll take a break, come back for part 3. And okay, welcome back to part 3. I hope we've had enough crack today. Have we, lads?
It's a very
I think we've
different
been
sort of show today.
shy of crack.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the tone. Is it the mood of the world at the moment?
Yeah, I think
It's not just the rugby, it's the lockdown. It's
I know, but to be fair, we've come in and just come in and out of a couple of lockdowns, and we've been in great form the whole time. And as soon as Ireland get beat, it shows you how upset we are by the global pandemic. Really, not that bothered, but if Ireland get beat,
yeah.
pretty pissed off.
Yeah. We'll try and see the positives. Try and do the positives. And in this month of November, we're going to do something very positive and grow mustaches. For, of course, Movember, in aid of prostate cancer research. Owen Naughton, our very, very active penguin.
is he Nocton? Oh, Nocton.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I'd say Nocton.
Yep. That makes way more sense. He's very active, and he has set up our very own Potholes and Penguins Movember site. So we're going to post that on the Facebook page and on all the others. So he has set a target of $6,000 for us all collectively to raise. So I think we can. I think we can do it. So please be generous. It's a very good cause. Grow your mustaches. Dermy and I have cheated a little bit, bitch. Because you're allowed apparently start with a fully grown one, start of the month, which I wasn't aware of. I thought you just to grow one from scratch, but apparently you're allowed.
It might be the old rules, because Matt McKnight was telling us, he was the one convincing us that, you're allowed to run up into it. So yeah, I'm going to need that as well, because I noticed you said you and Dermy have been cheating. I've been cheating as well, but it's just not noticeable yet.
You have a blonde one, so it's a bit harder, is it?
Mm-hmm. Takes a while. Them old blonde facial hair. I know it very well.
Yeah,
Takes ages.
Aaron Wainwright's got a lovely, thick, bushy, like a barista blonde moustache.
And what's the prop for New Zealand that I can never remember his name?
Charlie Faumawina.
Yeah, he looks like a walrus, like a cartoon walrus with a moustache. So yeah, please check that out and grow your mustaches. Send in all your pictures and let us know how your progress is going. Now, Dermy, have we got any other Pothole and Penguin correspondence?
We got some correspondence from Dave Lynch. Dave Lynch said this. Right, hear me out. Here's my Kickstarter idea for a movie. If we can get people on board. Richie Moanga comes to Earth in an egg-shaped spaceship from a land where they throw the ball around to teach a young boy called Finn Russell to always do mad shit at 10 and break the mould. Finn's dad is played by Gregor Townsend, who he is rebuilding a relationship with. His mum is Trimby with the wig. And Joe Schmidt is his stern stepdad, who is trying to force him to just hit up static forwards and scolding him for having the second point. Movie ends with Finn winning the Rugby World Cup wearing a beret. Post-credit scene, Moanga brings Finn to his planet, setting up a Looney Tunes-style rugby sequel. I've been up far too long. Fair play to Scotland on the win. Coy big. Scotland won.
They did. They beat Wales.
I would love to see Trimby shifting the face off Joe Schmidt. There'd definitely be some sort of a dirty sex scene with Trimby and Joe having now a glass of wine, Trimby's long blonde curls, and very Titanic-esque or something like that.
There is a 90s vibe off that, isn't there?
There is.
I'm behind Joe and saying, I'm the king of the world. I wonder how me and Joe would like how we got together. You know, what the backstory is there. I'd imagine it was me just sleeping with him so I could get picked in 2014. Come on, Joe.
Is that what
Please.
happened? Is that what
Sleep
happened?
with
I'll do it.
I wonder if that ever happened. That is the exact kind of correspondence we want.
Well done, Dave.
Well done. It's a real smell of a 90s film that someone would actually just go out and make that. And
Schmelly 90s.
yeah, the Finn Russell and Gregor Townsend trying to rebuild their relationship, and Joe Schmidt being the stepdad and giving him shit and grounding him and stuff like that, and Finn running out and slamming doors and stuff.
He's so bold, isn't he?
The egg-shaped.
Did you see him do the volley for Scotland?
I
before he
didn't.
came?
I heard it. I
So
missed it.
bold. He lashed through his foot and then it just skewed off, and then he just started like smiling, roaring, laughing. That's my kind of player.
Yeah, you do. I love that he doesn't really give a fuck.
Devil, right, devil. Okay, I've got one from Ian Condell. He wants to start a discussion for Potholes and Penguins. Are those Australian players at a good standard for international rugby, regardless of youth and experience?
Youth and experience are major factors, so it's hard to say regardless of those, right? It's hard to tell how good a player is going to be. The mistakes they made the weekend, Lolesio, the 10 that started, was he 20 years of age, is it? Yeah. Playing against Richie Mwonga and an unbelievable All Blacks side in your first test match, it's always going to be an impossible task unless you're one of the best 20-year-olds to have ever played the game. It's always going to be an uphill battle, and unfortunately he didn't have a good day at the office. But how good is he going to be at 24 when he's had all of these games under his belt? And if they keep putting him in there and putting him in the position, they don't have another option at the moment. What are they supposed to do? Connor was injured, and what's his name? The Tumani's injured as well. Or what's his name? Tamua. Sorry, was injured as well. And then who else? They made a lot of mistakes, didn't they? So you kind of...
Yeah, I think you get away with that. If you're Dave Rennie coming into a new setup, you'll get a period of time where you'll get a grace period. And I think if you play more youngsters, you'll extend that grace period. Granted, that grace period kind of runs out if you keep getting hammered by the All Blacks. To be fair, Czech lasted a long time with a similar record. But yeah, so with that mindset, then Farrell bringing in young fellas would have got away with it more if he'd done it at the start. Now's a good chance. To be fair, you never really get the opportunity. But over what about this? These 4 fixtures, this autumn, the classic, the Autumn Nations Cup. Is that what it's called again? Yeah.
In winter,
whatever it's called.
Autumn and winter.
Yeah, I think he couldn't have made too many wholesale changes for the Six Nations, because there's too much at risk in terms of cash and it's hard to replace and drop some of those some of the proven players we have. But in the Autumn International, it's a massive opportunity to change a lot of things up. Who would I like to see get in? I'd love to see Craig Casey get a game. Man of the match again for Munster today, and sooner he's fast-tracked, the better. Whether he'll get a run, I don't know, because Gibson Park is definitely going to get a start. Marmion probably will. Murray will get another one. You'd think Cooney is bound to get brought in. But you'd love to just see him throw, even Harry Byrne for that matter. I mean, as much as I think Ross Byrne is a brilliant player, he's already, you hear a lot of people saying that Harry Byrne is actually going to be a better player than him. So if that's the fact, why not fast track him, get him in there as a 10 now, and see if these guys step up to the plate.
So with that in mind, then, so the what you're suggesting there is don't, I suppose, waste experience on Ross Byrne whenever you could be investing that in Harry Byrne. Not to say the same is true then for scrum half. So is there any point in having Jameson Gibson Park, Kieran Marmion, Cooney, all getting a little bit of experience? Would you not be better saying we're going to back you and then just invest in them, and then obviously Casey then it's a different stage, so he's not.
Yeah, it's true. Gibson Park deserves a start. I think he's never had a start, and he's been on the bench for the last few. So, but you could be right then.
I hope he gets a start against one of the big ones, either the Wales game or England game. What's the point? I think maybe Casey's one you play against Georgia. I don't think you give Gibson Park an opportunity whenever he's genuinely competition now, and you give him a go against a big team. Because if he plays well against Georgia, everybody goes, "Who cares? It's Georgia."
Yeah, very true.
On your point with Craig Casey, that he was brilliant today, very very good.
Yeah.
He just I don't think I've seen his break and how nippy he is and his footwork being as good. I've seen that up until today.
His step is unbelievable.
Yeah,
I love those guys that know exactly. Like, I didn't really know what I was doing when I was stepping. Do you know what I mean?
Just avoid getting hit.
Yeah, it's kind of like just running and weaving and stuff. But those guys that know exactly how to make a fool out of someone with a step, and he's definitely one of those guys. And he's kicked well today as well, and full of confidence, which I love. And you look at someone like DuPont and how well he's done by just being thrown in there and backed for France. So I'd love to see Ireland do that. Outside of that, in the Leinster setup,
Wait, what way is Ryan Baird at the minute? I know he's injured, but is he?
I'm unsure. It didn't sound like it was a long-term one, did it? So he might get back.
We'll see. Yeah,
obviously,
I wonder if
himself and Keller. Yeah, I was going to suggest that. A lot of people saying probably too early to get him in an Irish jersey this side of Christmas, but it would be such a boost to see him back in the side. But yeah, it could be. I'm not sure if he's starting for Leinster this week, but might be a bit too early with it.
Yeah, the only other comparison was going to be could see you coming back from his ACL, maybe even a second ACL, and how he went straight in, hit the ground running. But Levy's wasn't even. It was everything you could possibly do to your knee. It was completely banjaxed by the signs of it. Yeah. Even the ACL's tame compared to what happened to him. So yeah, take your time, son.
Yeah, outside of that, I don't know. Maybe a few more of the Leinster back rowers. Deegan.
He's wrecked as well.
He is he?
Yeah, I think he's done something. Scott Penny, I don't know. No, probably not
a huge amount.
The only Ulster guys who might have got a chance, as in young guys we're talking about here, would have been Tom O'Toole and Balakoon, but they're both
injured as well.
Correct. Balakoon definitely long term. I think Tom O'Toole's a good few weeks as well.
Wow, a lot of injuries to young fellas.
Yeah,
could be similar enough side then, or similar enough squad. Watch this space. All right, is that the last correspondence?
That's the last bit of correspondence. There,
okay. I'd say we'll finish up on that.
See you during the week.
Yeah.
CJ, outstanding in the field. Trying to not get electric shocks.
Before we finish up, I do want to actually dedicate this episode to someone. Very tragically and sadly, a penguin of ours, a guy by the name of David O'Connor, passed away on Friday, and it was just in the most tragic and inexplainable circumstances, and just from a short illness, and his friends and family have been left distraught, and got on to us saying that he loved the show and listened every week. He was a member of the UL Bohemian senior team. And by all accounts, just the most incredible fella, loved by everyone and missed by everyone. So, look, it's very hard, I'm sure, for everyone. And
A lot of people talking about him in Ennis as well. Like he was from Rock Mountain Ennis and played at Ennis Rugby Club growing up underage. Just seemed like an all-around really good guy and did a lot of coaching underage and very popular guy as well across all sporting disciplines.
Yeah, look, I don't know, it made me really hit me hard, this one now. So we're going to play his favourite song, which is a Hermitage Green song by The Glow of the Kerosene Light, and we'll finish on that note. So to all Doc's friends and family, we're thinking of you, and party on. This one's for you, man.
Time when my granddad and I would sit by the fire at night, and I'd listen to stories of how he once lived by the glow of the kerosene light, by the glow of the kerosene light. He said, Mom and Dad sent me off to school, where I learned how to read and to write. And they'd listen for hours as I read from my books by the glow of the kerosene light, by the glow of the kerosene light. Your grandma and I, we were wed at 16. Lord, she was a beautiful sight. Always proudly I placed a ring on her hand by the glow of the kerosene light, by the glow of the kerosene light. About 1 year later, your daddy was born, and your grandma held my hand so tight. Oh, I can't tell the joy as she brought forth new life by the glow of the kerosene light, by the glow of the kerosene light. Well, having a child did weaken her soul. She just wasn't up to the fight. She looked so peaceful as she went to her rest by the glow of the kerosene light, by the glow of the kerosene light. Then and as now, the times they were hard. To succeed you would try all your might. Well, sometimes love blooms, and sometimes dreams die by the glow of the kerosene light, by the glow of the kerosene light, by the glow of the kerosene light, by the glow of the kerosene